Hey everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville and you're on the lifeboat. You know what, people? I blocked my brother Johnny on my channel. I don't know how the hell I did it. Having a very tough time unblocking him. I don't know if Heather Joy is here. Heather Joy, if you're here, take a look at it and see what you can do. I can't figure it out. He was here, said he was here leaving comments and saying hi to everybody. He had told me that I may have blocked him a while ago, and today I went on there and thought that I had blocked him. I don't know how I did it, or if I don't know if I did it, or if maybe someone else did it by accident. It happens. You touch something the wrong way. If you happen to have a touch screen and you're scrolling through, there's a decent chance that you can accidentally block someone. I see ones for Quiet Girl. I want to say hello to everybody here. People. Good show this morning. I had a lot of fun talking with everybody. We got a lot of people brand new to the boat. We're closing in on that 5,000 mark, and it is an awful lot of fun to have new people. And it's a challenge on the lifeboat. I think probably different than it is on other channels. There is a very important aspect of what we do that is just quite simply put. Chemistry or synergy. And if everybody doesn't mesh together, then then it's tough. So we're going to go over a couple of ground rules since we have some new people here. First of all, we don't talk about politics in the chat. We don't do it because we're going to have people who lean left. We're going to have people that lean right. We're going to have people who don't like people that lean left or right. It's going to be one of those situations that 9 out of 10 times is going to lead to people arguing with one another. And you know what? That's not what we're here for. We're here for the exact opposite. We're trying to develop connections. And you know what? You can be super connected with people who agree with every single thing that you do. You got somebody that agrees with you down the road. You're pro-choice, they're pro-choice. They don't want gun control. You don't want gun control. Every single tick on every single box right down the line. We're perfectly matched. We get along great. You're not going to be doing a whole lot of pushing yourself, if you understand what I'm saying. Living inside of an echo chamber is a bad thing, in my opinion. 100 out of 100 times. So we don't talk about politics in the chat. And what happens is you realize that, hey, you know what? So-and-so is an awesome human being. Seriously, they've done so much to help me in my road to sobriety, and they've done so much to help me in my recovery, and they're just really a great person. You know what? I love that guy, or I love that gal. And then you find out that they don't agree with you on any of those boxes. They're on the exact opposite end of the spectrum on virtually every single thing that you believe. You're not going to hate them. You already love them. But it's proof, and it happens all the time. It's proof that it's not the most important thing in the world to be right. It's not the most important thing in the world to only hang out with people who believe exactly what you do. I think it's dangerous. To be really honest, I think it's dangerous. So we're not going to talk about politics here. We're all going to get to know one another without that in our lives. Okay, and we're not going to talk about religion. There are exceptions to this rule. I have no problem whatsoever with anyone who says we're praying for you. Fantastic. You pray to whatever God you want. It's a positive message of people who are saying, you know what, I do believe in a God and I'm going to ask him on your behalf. I think that's beautiful. I really do. On the flip side of that, if you're not someone that prays, if the fact that someone here is praying makes you really uncomfortable and really offended, then you need to get your life together. Honestly. It's just a prayer. If you're not into prayer, send positive messages. If you're not into doing any of that, then just let the people around you do it and connect with them on other things. But it's okay if somebody doesn't believe in the same God you do. It's okay to say anywhere in the comment section, I wouldn't have gotten here without God, because I'll tell you something right now. I wouldn't be true to myself if I didn't say that without my relationship with Christ, there's no lifeboat and there's no Tommy. And that's the reality of when you talk about it on the boat, you lose subscribers, and that is what it is. I don't make this a religious channel. It's not what I do. I'm going to have outlets that people can go and look at religious stuff. Will not be here. You don't have to worry about that. So What we don't say is my God's better than your God. That one's really uncool, and we don't do that here. Even worse are the people who say to you, let me tell you why you're going to hell. Let me tell you why your plan isn't going to work in the afterlife. And let me bag on your religion and tell you why you're wrong. We don't do that. Exception to the rule might be Scientology. I mean, honestly, there are exceptions to the rules. Things that are out and out, no joke, in your face cults. And Scientology most assuredly is that. And it's, another form of mind control. Really, you listen to the stories, and the crossover between the addiction and the brainwashing is so similar. It's almost frightening, except we do it to ourselves in addiction, right? We do it to ourselves. The last rule is this: mean people suck. It's what we've always called it on the boat. The rule number 4 is the mean people suck rule. I'm sorry, that's rule number 5, but we'll go backwards. Mean people suck. We don't have time for trolls. We got a lot of people here with wrenches, and they will absolutely throw you off the boat in the blink of an eye. Why? Because we talk about really heavy duty subjects here, and we open ourselves up when we do that. And we don't need trolls or people who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. And they're out there. Don't kid yourself. It's if you've been on this interweb thing for any length of time, then you've seen the troll phenomenon. And we don't allow it here. We just don't. And then the other one is, I'm a firm believer if you can't control your mouth, then you can't control your life. So if you can pump the brakes on cursing when you're in the live chat, you can leave here and drop every F-bomb you want. You can leave here and talk like a sailor or a midshipman or whatever they call them, a longshoreman. You can curse like anything you want, but just not on the boat. The way I look at it is this: what if cursing in the live chat runs off somebody that absolutely needs to hear this message? There are 300 people a day dying in the U.S. alone, and this is a worldwide epidemic with what's going on with fentanyl and with all of the other drugs that are being manufactured. Some of the just gnarliest and nastiest opiates in the world, opioids, and just ugly stuff. So that is the rules here on the Lifeboat, right? And if we stick to them, everything runs pretty smoothly. Occasionally, people get their feathers ruffled for one reason or another. Somebody says something that offends somebody, or someone says a joke that offends somebody. But when you've got this many people with such diverse upbringings, people from every part of the world, we're in so many countries now. It's bizarre. So we got to go out of our way to not offend people. However, you know what? If you do get offended, try and get over it. Because the mentality that cancels people for things that they say is a terrifying phenomenon in this country, and I think in the world. The idea that you can cancel someone because of something that they think or that they say is abhorrent. It really is. It's absolutely abhorrent. So we can all agree to disagree. We can thicken our skin up a little bit. We can thicken our skin up a little bit so that we can all maybe laugh at ourselves from time to time, because it's not such a bad thing. It really isn't. It can do wonders for you. Get a little chuckle at yourself. Thicken up your skin. Sitting in one of these seats is the greatest way to do it. Anybody that's put up content for any period of time can tell you how many emails they get and comments they get from people that would just like to point out that you've got a really good sized nose, right? Telling you a huge beak, right? Or caveman hands, or whatever else they feel like being cruel with at any given time. The beautiful thing about the program that we run here is that I honestly believe that when you get to that point where you are really no longer a threat at all of getting high, that those kind of negative things that people can say and do won't affect you in the same way. I guarantee you they won't. And the reasons are multifaceted, but the one reason is we've talked about this for long times on the boat in the past, but the thing that makes most of us want to get high, want to stay high, want to get loaded, want to get drunk, want to get tooted, whatever the hell it is you do, right? What makes us want to continue going back to that? Well, we're not comfortable in our own skin. We're uncomfortable in our own skin. So the barbs and jabs of people who say cruel things about us, whether it be our appearance or our skill set or whatever, right? Our belief system. When someone does something and says something about that and bruises our egos, it drives us back even harder to our substance of choice. So when you get to a point where you're, no joke, comfortable in your own skin, then if somebody drops a line about my nose being wide enough that if you ran from one side of it to the other, you'd have to stop and get a beer. I'm really comfortable in my own skin. I'm comfortable with all of my warts. I'm comfortable with all of my successes and all of my failures. And it makes it a little bit easier to take the criticisms and the barbs and all of that. It really does. But we're going to talk today about some nuts and bolts stuff, peeps. Nuts and bolts stuff. The do's of not just staying sober, but of life change, right? When I started to work with Q, and if you're brand new to the lifeboat, Q is the guy that helped me get sober. He's a guy that I did time with that has just over the years picked individuals to work with and to try to help them take a look at who they are. It's a kind of almost like a guru kind of a thing, to be really honest with you. There was certainly a teacher student. Maybe guru is the wrong phrase, because there are no gurus, but it was that type of certainly a teacher and a pupil kind of a situation. Let me make sure I get this up here on another screen, because I can't see, anybody that does, like, if you bought a membership, I don't see it. There we go. I knew it. Miss Dragon, thank you so much. I really appreciate your kindness. I thought I saw a yellow blurb, but see on the broadcast stuff, it does not work. Thank you for your kindness, Miss Dragon. Really, really appreciate you. And people, a great member, community member here on the Lifeboat. Miss Dragon's absolutely amazing. She does videos that are short, sweet, and on point every single time. If you haven't gone to check out her channel, you really should. And if one of our killer mods, could put a link up to Miss Dragon's channel. I feel so comfortable being able to say to people, go check out what she does. I'll tell you what, I don't recommend a lot of YouTube channels. I mean, if you've been on the boat, I don't. I love helping people. I really do. But you kind of got to, I don't want to point somebody in a direction of something that is at the polar end of the extremes of what it is that we're doing, because it's a reflection on you. You know what I'm saying? If it is, I don't care if you curse on your channel. I don't care if you do any of those things, but I probably won't promote it on my channel because it kind of makes it look like, simpatico. It's not going to happen. But thank you so much, Miss Dragon. Appreciate you. Great content. You really need to check her out. So I am going to be talking today about probably what got me where I got the most benefit the fastest on my road to recovery was through structure and structure alone. When I started working with Q, one of the first things that he did was to come into to my cell, just smaller than this room. Actually, pretty considerably smaller than this room. But if you took it from the outside of the sign that says exit and you moved that way, right? Then that's about the size of what the cell is. But he came in and just started pointing out where every single thing in there was out of place, where every single thing in there just wasn't where it ought to be or were. And I said to him, what is the big deal? I mean, honestly, it's not like I'm having a lot of people stop by Q. And his response and his answer, I think, was fairly important for the life of my sobriety. He said, it doesn't matter what, you're not doing this for other people, but what you're doing is you're agreeing to live in chaos. You're agreeing to live somewhere where there is disorder all around you. And it is the start of a road you don't want to go down. Plain and simple. It's a road you don't want to go down. If you do, you're going to find yourself miserable. Why? Because subconsciously, everywhere you look, it says you're a failure. Whether you realize that or not, that's what it's saying. You look everywhere and you see dirty dishes in the sink. It is screaming, you're a failure. These are really small steps. People, reach out all the time and they're trying to get sober and they're trying to change their life or they're trying to work on this or that. And we start to think about these huge, epic things in front of us. These things that hold, the huge questions in life. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? What happens after I die? All of those things are super, super important. You're not going to concentrate on those things. If you live in a pigsty, it's very difficult to do so. It really is. Now, it doesn't mean things, if there has to be structure. I've been in places that were stacked floor to ceiling with books, but those individuals knew where every single one of those books were. I've seen watchmaker shops that would take your breath away. It looked like chaos, but it was in order. But for me, if I take my shirt off and I throw it on the floor, right, instead of either putting it in a hamper or hanging it back up on a hook, then I'm the same Tommy I was for 46 years of my life. Take that off, throw it on the floor, right? Nighttime rolls around, and it's about midnight, 1 o'clock, and the drugs are starting to kick in a little bit. NZ Chilihead, good to see you. And the drugs start kicking in a little bit, and I'm starting to get the nod. I walk into the other room, drop down onto the bed in whatever I wore that day, and I fall asleep. Why? Because there's no reason to change, right? And that's what everything around me said about who I was. There's no reason to change. There's no reason to hang those clothes up when you come through the door. There's no reason to keep gas in your automobile. Right? There's no reason to keep your car clean, outside or inside. What difference does it make? It's dirt. Who cares, right? It's telling you every minute of every day that you just don't care. You don't care. How do you prove to the world and to yourself that you care? Well, start with the things that happen to you every single day, the things that you look at and stare at you every single day. Take control over those things. In prison, there is so little that you can have control over. There's so little that you can have control over. Guys are telling you when you're going to take showers. Guys are telling you when you're going to do this, when you're going to do that. What have you got? What have you got? Well, I've got a chunk of time that I have to do. And I learned to break that time up into very small increments, right? In the very beginning, hour at a time, white knuckling it, wanting heroin so bad. Just get through this next hour. Just get through this next hour. But about the time it got to where I could do a day at a time, one day at a time, I had detoxed and I was through all of that. And I was starting to, in the way that a crew member suggested, and I talked about on one of the other shows, that really should have been my sobriety date. You know what I mean? Like that exact moment where I go, oh man, this is it. That should be everybody's sobriety date. Whenever that happens, right? Where you click in. But the first thing that I did was I started taking care of the smallest things I possibly could. Q said to me, when you get up in the morning, do you make your bed? I said, no. And he's like, well, so when they come through and they inspect it, you get a write-up, you don't care, you just throw them away or whatever. I go, no, I might make it later in the day. Or if I see the cop in the unit walking around checking, then I'll get back into the cell as quick as I can and make my bed. And he went on to say to me, it is the first thing that you have an opportunity to do in the morning that tells the world, tells you, tells the universe, tells God, tells whatever makes you happy. I'm not that dude anymore. I'm not that girl anymore. Whatever the case may be. That's it. See, the last person slept in. You can get up at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning or now 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever the case may be. But the old Tommy didn't do that. No. If I did it before, I don't do it now. You follow me? I mean, literally down to the line. If I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, is this a good decision or a bad decision? Okay, what would I have done 4 years ago? Or what would I have done, 20 years ago? Or what would I have done the 27th of June, I celebrated 8 years of being off of heroin. I'm sorry, people. I'm just trying to scroll up. I don't know what happened with the comments, people, but my goodness. Yeah, I just can't catch up. So it became a situation where I realized that every single time I took control over any aspect of my life, I got a little bit better at the sobriety thing. It became a little bit easier. It became a little bit more manageable. And so I started getting vicious. And the first thing was making the bed. And I beat this to death, man. If you're new to the lifeboats, you're going to get sick of hearing this, but get up in the morning and make your bed. This is not just to say, I got a clean room. It's to say the first thing I can do in the morning to say I'm different. I am proclaiming to myself, to the world, to the universe, this is a new me. This is a new day. Whatever happened yesterday's done. First thing I can do, make that bed. I'm going to make it before I do a damn thing. Before I do a damn thing. But then I'm going to brush my teeth. He asked that too. Now, you brush your teeth every morning, right? Every morning. I go, yeah, I do. Every once in a while, I might miss one. But yeah, I brush my teeth every single morning. I tell him. He says, at what time? I said, when I get around to it. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. That when I get around to it thing, if that's how you schedule your life, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get randomness, and randomness is the enemy of structure, and structure is the enemy of addiction, a huge one. It is a huge, massive weapon in your arsenal for staying sober, is structuring the ever-loving hell out of your life. Inside, they call it programming. Programming. I know what I'm doing. If like right now, I've been out of prison a hot minute, but there are guys in there that I know that I lived with that I can look at my watch right now and tell you exactly what they are doing at this time of day. I mean, no chance they're not. If they're breathing, they're doing it because they structure their life, because it's the only way inside that you can say, I'm different. I really am. I mean, what does everybody say when they go in there? I'm never coming back here. I'm never coming back to prison. I'm a changed man. Seriously. I did that stuff before, but I'm different. I'm not doing that ever again. This is the last time you're ever going to see me. Every single person says the exact same thing. As opposed to taking anybody at face value or at their word, the smartest thing to do is get a look at how these people are living. For real. If they're playing poker at 10 o'clock in the morning and they're making bags of wine and they're working a job in there to get just enough money so that a couple of times a month they can buy a little bit of dope and get high. If you look at how people are living, you're going to tell whether or not they're coming back. Because I was always the ass that was coming back. And the way that I lived, it was randomness, complete and utter out of control randomness. This last time, it was the exact opposite. I did yoga, right? I taught yoga. I had a full-time job at a factory within the system. I had a time put aside every single day to read my Bible. I had a time put aside every single day just to pray. And it was one of those situations where every minute that I was awake, I was proclaiming to the world I was a different person. Jason P. has asked for Suboxone. Jason P., reach out to me right now. sober@myyahoo.com. sober@myyahoo.com. And we will get this taken care of. I really apologize, people. If you just asked your doctor. You asked your doctor for Suboxone today. Congratulations, man. Please reach out to me. sober@myyahoo.com. Congratulations. That is a huge step, man. It is a huge step. This is a great boy. I'm telling you what. If I had told you ahead of time, Jason B is what you need to do. Say when we're about 26, 27 minutes in. I want you to say. Actually, I probably lost it when I was, missing everything else back then. But this is going to put structure into your life. The biggest gift of Suboxone is not that someone is going to be able to get off dope without getting sick. And it's not that it'll turn off the receptors so you don't get the cravings and all that. All those things are great. All of those things are fantastic. But what Suboxone does best is it stops all the BS. It kills all the randomness in your life. Well, what did you do on Monday? Well, I waited in a parking lot at a Home Depot for 3.5 hours for a gentleman to meet me up there and deliver bags of dope. And, in the morning, I stole money and then I stole stuff from the store and then sold it so that I could get money to go wait in the parking lot. Everything I did all day long was, am I getting high? Am I stealing to get high? Am I waiting for the guy who brings me the dope that gets me high? There was nothing else. You take Suboxone and you no longer have to worry about getting sick. You no longer have to worry about scoring dope. So you don't have to worry about waiting in parking lots. And all of a sudden, you've got massive amounts of time on your hands. People that are really off in life find that once you're able to get that stuff out of your life, then there is a ton of things that you can do. And in theory, it means that you can change your life. You literally can change your life. However, very often it's intimidating as hell. And we find ourselves doing this number and sitting on the couch going, I don't have any idea what to do. Why would you have any idea what to do? Why would I have had any idea what to do? I spent 3 decades in that random scatter shotgun life that had zero structure. Now, the only difference is I'm sober and I'm trying to structure my life. So instead of being in parking lots and instead of stealing, instead of doing, I had to occupy that time because I found that when I sat there, I started to become uncomfortable in my own skin again. Silence is particularly bad for me. That one was a killer. So if I was laying there and I was just completely silent, I would get in my head, and those things that we call ants, automatic negative thoughts, those automatic negative thoughts start talking to me and they start saying, you're going to be back on dope. You're going to be back on dope. You've made it this far before. What makes you think this time is going to be any different? In fact, why are you going through this? You're not happy right now. I'd make you happy for about 4 or 5 hours anyway. At least when you were doing, and this crap just goes on. And every time it drove me right back to the needle or the pipe, right? Every time. What was different this time? What was different is I wasn't sitting down doing this number ever. Ever. I wasn't doing it. I had every minute of every day scheduled in the beginning for real, all of them. And I remember sitting down and writing out the schedule with Q, feeling like an idiot. Like, you really want me to tell you what I'm going to be doing every minute of every day for the first week that I'm doing this with you? Man, this is stupid. If I had $1 for every time I looked at this man and said, man, this is stupid. For real. I had to be the worst patient that he ever had. Had to be. I finished up pretty strong. But in the beginning, everything that he told me sounded dumb. I got to figure out, I got to schedule that first day. Every single thing I'm going to be doing. What are you going to be doing at 11:15? And I'm looking at this piece of paper that I wrote stuff down on. I'm just thinking, man, I would like to hit him in the head. He's driving me nuts. And I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the structure at all. Why? Well, because your brain wants you to get high. Your brain wants to go back to the lowest common denominator. Your brain wants to go back to what it knows, right? The striatum, the part of our brain that does things that it's not voluntary anymore, right? It becomes a math equation. 1 + 1 = 2. Every time Tommy feels this way, he does what, right? So literally the part of your brain, you've trained yourself to be a drug addict. You've trained yourself that when you start feeling a little uncomfortable in your own skin, you can make that go away. And it is your default setting. Go get high, go get high, go get high, go get high, right? Things are great. Good, let's get high. I lost my job. Bummer, got to get high. You may actually get that raise and be the person that you want to be, and everything could be, your dream could come true. Well, I can't have that. Holy hell, my default setting is failure. This is why we sabotage ourselves. Your brain does not want to work hard. Do you understand? And your brain is not on your side. If you think it is, this is going to be a very long struggle for you. So what you want to do is you want to retrain the brain, literally. You are all the best support I've ever had. Jason P., what a very cool thing to say. Honestly, what a very cool thing to say. I am so damned happy that you found the lifeboat. It is a perfect fit. It's a perfect match. Well, we're glad that you're back, Scoop. So structure, right? We make our bed. So you get up in the morning and you make the bed. It's going to take you what, 5 minutes? You do a really good job. It's going to take you 5 minutes. You probably breeze through it. Or you could probably be the person that says, I am going to make my bed better than anybody in North America, right? People are going to walk in and go, damn, that's a bed. Like, I've never seen a bed made until I saw that. And what could that take you, 10 minutes? Okay. So if you sleep 8 hours a day, which would be ideal. You sleep 8 hours a day. That's going to leave, let's see, carry the 16. It's going to leave 16 hours of the day that we need to figure out what we're going to do that isn't getting high. Well, for me, yoga was great. I liked doing it. I liked teaching it. That took up a good chunk of time. Now, could I do it now? No, because now my structure has a hell of a lot to do with this. It has a lot to do with the lifeboat, right? That is a absolutely massive part of the structure of my life. But my life is structured. I don't have downtime. I don't sit there and think about, well, I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm going to channel surf and see what's on TV. If you like watching TV, great. I can't. I structure my life in such a way to show at all times and proclaim at all times that I'm a completely different person. Because for me, being sober ain't good enough. Being sober just means that you're not on drugs anymore. If that is what you're shooting for, man, God bless you. Seriously, God bless you. If that's what you're shooting for and that's all you want, right? And it would be really nice if you could be happy, not that white knuckle, I'm sober, but actually happy. Kind of an important thing. It really is. So the best thing possible is to put some of that structure in the day to do things that you enjoy, right? Put things in there that you like to do. But before you get to that recreation part and before you get to all of the fun that you can put into this, I promise you can. The next thing that you need to write down on that list of stuff that you got to do is journaling. You are going to need to get a notebook that you are going to write in at a minimum twice a day. Twice. Every single day, you're going to pick up that journal and you're going to write in it. I'm not a writer, Tommy. Yeah, I don't care. You don't need to be Stephen King, right? You just need to get your thoughts out of your head. Also, therapists cost a lot of money. They really do. They cost a lot of money. And the average therapist will say things like, and how did that make you feel? Right? And they'll say things like that very often. And they'll ask leading questions just sort of to keep you going. But you have to get to a point where you can be completely honest with them down to the most nitty-gritty details of your life if you really want to get something out of it. Or you can get a damn notebook for about $2.50, and you can start being in counseling with that notebook being your best damn friend in sobriety. Your best damn friend. Because if you just don't sit down and write, dear diary, let me tell you what happened. If that's how you like to do it, fantastic. That's not how I like to do it. I just bleed onto the paper. I want it to be almost a stream of conscious. I sit down, I put the pen down, and begin to write whatever's on my mind, especially the morning one, right? We've talked about this many times on the boat, but when you go to sleep at night, your brain doesn't shut down. In fact, it's a shift change, like the old cartoon where the dog and the coyote pass each other. Morning, Ralph. Morning, Fred. You know what I'm talking about? I hope you know what I'm talking about because it's a great damn reference. But it's just a shift change. And now your subconscious, they get to run wild, right? It's their time off. And they're going to do whatever they want. And they're going to work through the problems that you have that you don't realize you have. Mr. Ray Ray says, Tommy, you just said, how does that make you feel? Does that mean we all owe you $200? Of course not. Of course not. I'll do it for $110. Tommy, I agree. Therapists make me feel like a number. Most of them have a huge workload. True. And that's, you're a good dude to point that out. And I feel like there is no sincerity with what they say, lack of involvement or memory of what we speak of. You know what, Jason P? Here's the thing. There are some great therapists on this planet. There really are. There are some people that are really good at this who care infinite amounts of love and care, and they do a great job. However, they would basically have to have had every problem that you can come across, right? So that they can say, I kind of know what you're going through. My dad passed away a couple of years ago. Does that mean that if someone else lost their father, I can say, I know what you're going through? No, because I don't know what they're going through. But I can say, I've lost my dad too. And sometimes nothing, all the time. Knowing that the people that you're with have been through the same thing makes you feel better about moving forward. And I'm telling you, the only thing better than a group therapy that you're going to find at a place like the Lifeboat, where everybody just gets along and they're all here pulling in the same direction for the same reason. Hold on one second. See, Valerie said that she's worked with an awesome therapist to save her life. I'm telling you, there are great ones out there. An experience from our standpoint, addicts. Correct, Rick. But even with how all of us get along here, and we all lean on each other, and we all full of hope. Good to see you. We all lean on each other, and we're all here for one another. But there are times that you got to go above and beyond, and there are times that you got to be able to say things that maybe you don't even want to say in front of Charlie Mullins, right? Or Zen Wen, or Full of Hope, or anybody else. This would be seventh in the crew. All right, quiet girl. Maybe there's sometimes that there's something that you got to say that, man, I'm not even ready for the public to hear this yet. This is something I just need to work out. Okay, well, talk to your journal. Your journal won't judge you. Amazingly, you'll judge the hell out of yourself. If you start writing in that journal day and night, when you get up in the morning, you make your bed, either before you make your bed or after you make your bed, whatever works for you, but make it every day the same damn time. Make it a routine, right? Structure your life. And this book is going to absolutely change who you are. This journal is going to change who you are fundamentally more than anything that will ever happen to you again in any kind of self-improvement. If you're not putting a pen to a paper every single day, you're not going to hit your full potential. That's it. That's it. I could pick this thing up and drop it right now. Except it's a Yeti Blue. And the crew of the Lifeboat bought this for me. This was, the money that comes in from memberships and things like that. We use that to try to help people get on medical assisted treatment, help people who find themselves, in trouble with drugs. And there's other ways that we've helped them. And we always find them. They don't find us. It's a beautiful little mission that we have here. It really is. And it's something that I'm super, super proud of. And we don't use the money that comes in for anything else except the Yeti Blue microphone. I did not go out of pocket for that. You guys did. It was in a pinch. I really needed it. But it's a great microphone. It really is a great microphone. But if you're not journaling, people, then you're just not going to get where you need to be. If you hate writing that much, then speak it into your phone. There are apps. You can go to the App Store and put in journaling, and there are apps that will even pull out common threads, right? All of these different things. Yeti is boss. Says Carousel Delirium. Yeah, Yeti really is boss. This is a great microphone. And Feed Squirrel on the list, Rick, right? Structure your life. I clean that kitty litter the same time every day. You know what I mean? Every day I try to knock it out. Like when I was in the hospital, I did, and the poor squirrel was going through it. I had to come home and clean some really dirty stuff. But you like hearing me better. Well, thank you. And V knows what she's talking about, because in the beginning, I went through like 5 microphones. Everyone would say, man, it's a great show, but I can't hear anything you're saying. I can't read, hear, write all at once. I'm sorry. I can't read and hear and write all at once. I imagine that would be tough. Yeah, I would imagine. I don't know that I could do that either. If you desire to heal diabetes or high blood pressure, I like Patrick Doe's YouTube, All Natural. He shows us how to reverse and heal. Excellent. I highly suggest a Logitech C922 Stream Pro Cam. Will you do me a favor, CD? Will you email me that at sober@myyahoo.com? SOBER at myyahoo.com. Not Yahoo, but my Yahoo. Oh, you're sick, full of hope. I'm so sorry to hear that. Can we get some prayers, please, for our friend full of hope? I emailed you last night after you asked me to. You did. Well, I may not have gotten to it. I apologize. I've gotten a absolute gaggle of emails. You know what? I'm not seeing it though. If you could just email me again and tell me the name of that, I would really appreciate it. Sorry, but I would really appreciate that if you could do that. Virginia, Allison, Stacy, aka Heather Joy, CD. Yeah, but I'm never too busy for that. Okay, so look, back to structure. I can do and have done many shows on the importance of journaling and why this really is the holy grail of sobriety and of building a better life. I don't even care if it has anything to do with drugs. You want to structure your life in such a way that everything you do moves you forward, not backwards. If you live in a mess and you accept a mess, your life will be a mess. It will. Structure yourself. And you know what? There are people who like to live in a little bit of clutter. Fine. But don't be because it's out of control. You follow me? Don't be because it's I don't care. Go in there and organize the hell out of that clutter in a way that you like it. Get up at the same time every single day. Do your laundry every week. Don't wait until everything you own is dirty to go clean it. When you start, this is a difficult thing, people. This is a difficult thing. And it's a difficult thing for so many because we lived such a different existence. We lived such a different existence. While we were getting high and we were in the life, most of us just didn't care about anything other than the drug, right? That's it. There's nothing else on the radar. Nothing else means anything. Horton Thistle says, "Hi, Tommy. My daughter made a manicure appointment to treat my wife. She was intoxicated at 1:30 in the afternoon. My daughter came back crying. She wrote her a letter. Wharton writing her a letter was a great idea. Having your girl write her a letter was a great idea. I'm so sorry to hear that. And you know what? Since that's up there, Wharton, because I've had people reach out to me in the last couple of days to ask me specifically about comments that you made in the comment section. And I wasn't prepared to tell anybody. So if you're one of the people that I wrote back and said, if Wharton wants to tell you people what's up, Wharton will tell you. Well, he just did. Okay. He's been really struggling with this because Wharton is a person that's walking the walk, got sober, started really just doing it. But sadly, there's somebody in his life that, his significant other is still in the life. And this is a difficult thing. And this is another great example. And Wharton, I'm sure there are going to be people here right now that can say, I know what you're going through. There was a time in my life, it was very brief, but there was a time in my life where I was sober and my first wife was not. For the most part, I was never sober until I was 46, but it has got to be the most difficult of situations. And our thoughts and our prayers are with you, brother. And I think it's a good thing that you come here and you say what you just did. I think that the other option, people, and this is huge, the other option is bottling things up inside. The other option is you hold it in and it eats you from the inside out and it will literally destroy your life. It's sad, but it's true. So please, if something is eating at you and there's something that you're really feeling pain and distress from, come here and let your brothers and sisters on the lifeboat share that burden. Instead of you trying to take that on alone. I mean, the purpose of group therapy when it works. Colburn, good to see you, bud. The purpose of group therapy when it works is that all of us can learn from one another and we can all bear each other's sorrows and joys and victories and defeats. And we do this together, and there's something so overwhelming the first time you realize that you're not alone. There's something so overwhelming about the first time that you realize that there are people out there that care about you because they've been there too. There are people out there willing to treat you like you're everybody else, like you're nothing special, like you're not a bad person, like you've never done anything that makes you any worse or any better than anybody else. When you walk onto the boat, you're a clean slate. You're a clean slate. Well, you don't know the things I've done in my past. Well, boy, oh boy, I'm glad you don't know all the things I've done in my past. I've been open about my criminal record because hell, you can find my criminal record anyway. There's nothing to be. And the other thing is, I don't want to be ashamed of my past. I quite simply don't want to be ashamed of it anymore. I can regret it, and I can make sure that it never happens again. But I don't intend to live the rest of my life wallowing in regret and being miserable, right? Just drowning in guilt. It's not going to happen. It isn't. So the opportunity to own your past, to move forward, to tell other people every time you're feeling pain of any kind, to come here and to unload it. How do you get how do you make all of these things happen? The way you make these things happen is you show up here a couple of times a day. I have a rather funny story. My neighbor showed up at my doorstep with a bottle of tequila and 2 beers at 8 a.m. Then peed in the bush outside my front door. Of course, I didn't answer. Good for you, Ian. Good for you, Ian DeVoe. Wow. That's a little early, isn't it? Hold on, people. I know I missed a comment here. Bear with me, peeps. Well, I'm sorry. Morton, I feel for you, my brother. I really do. I feel for you. So the purpose of this structure and the purpose of the talk today is to make you realize how quickly and how easily you can change your life by changing what you do in your life. We come here twice a day, right? You don't have to come here 14 times a week. You don't have to. If you're brand new sober, I would recommend you do. No joke. I would recommend that you do. However, you don't have to feel guilty if you miss your show. And in the beginning of sobriety, they usually try to tell people to do 60 shows. 60 group meetings in 60 days, AA meetings or 12-step program meetings or whatever. Some people say you do 90 in 90 days, whatever. We're here for people to wander in and out of if they're doing stuff like that. But the real connection is when you start to meet people here and you start to realize that, man, they're not just BSing. There really is something different here. And everybody really does care for one another. There's a group over on Facebook called The Lifeboat. And if you go over there and request to be let in, they'll let you into the group. We call it a safe harbor. I don't go there often. I kind of use it just to make announcements to you all. If I need to tell anybody that we're going early on the boat or anything like that, it's good. It's unlike most Facebook because it's very much like this. It really is just like the Lifeboat here on YouTube, but it's a chance for people to make connections at a different level. The opposite of addiction is connection. We have always believed that. And one of the keys to connection in my life, one of the keys to me staying connected in a real and meaningful way is structure. Again, may sound silly, but what are these things in my life that I'm going to deem important enough to say, this is what I'm doing? Well, obviously I have a watch business, right? I buy, I sell, and I repair vintage watches. And that's important to me. That's it. It's how I pay the bills, and it's an important thing in my life, and I absolutely love them. So how do you prove that something is important to you? You give it the one thing that you can't get any more of. Time. If you show me what somebody spends their time on, I will show you what is important to them. If you show me how somebody takes, 8 hours and what they do with that 8 hours, and I will show you where their priorities lie. So by structuring your life, you can proclaim the things that are now important in your life. What are you going to do with the with those first 3 hours of the morning? I don't know. What's important to you? I don't know what is important to you. I started contacting people who through the night sent me emails about being in desperate places, people who really want to get off dope. Um, I've learned since starting the lifeboat that you got to keep that duty on a very short leash. You have to continually check in constantly because bad things happen. We've lost people on the lifeboat. We've lost plenty of them. Drugs and alcohol kill people, sadly. And they kill good people every single day. Patrick Taylor, good to see you. Leisure. Prayers for you, brother. Leisure is another guy that has been on the boat virtually forever. Virtually forever. Um, yeah, I don't remember a time when there was no leisure on the lifeboat. He's been here for an eternity and always just been a really upbeat, positive guy. Been through an awful lot. Had every reason to be bummed out a lot of times, and just is always just such a positive force and a positive influence. I love you, brother. Thank you for the help you are spreading, inspiring many. P.S. Email sent. Well, excellent. CD, thank you so much. I really appreciate it and appreciate the donation. I will be getting back to you. I'm glad I'm sober. I got my life back. People, if you've never seen the interview I did with the Swiss Vapor, you should go back and watch it. It is a fun interview. He has a really, really great story of success and recovery. Your dog needs a short leash. You let that dog run and bad things happen? Is that what you're saying? Hey, awakened by the looking glass reflection. Good to see you. You know what? Seventh Son just said, I have a rather unpleasant voice. You know what, brother? I love your voice. True story. And I'll tell you why. And I'm really glad that you said that. I'm really glad you opened the freaking door for this. You put it in there. Let this be a lesson to everybody that puts anything in the comment section. Learn from your brother Steve. Seventh Son, I know for a fact he's been very, very open about it and very, very honest about it. That Steve does not like the sound of his own voice, and a lot of people don't. But he feels his is more heinous than anything in the world, and he's he beats himself up about it pretty good. But we had a call-in number at one point. It wasn't a call-in. It was sort of set up like that. But one of the first call-in shows that we did, we were trying to get it rolling. We had a bit of a better studio setup. I had somebody smarter than me running it. But we didn't. One of the first nights we went live, we didn't get a call. And you don't want that to happen on the first night, right? You want somebody to call in so other people can see it. And I'm looking at Mark through the glass, and I'm just thinking, oh man, we really could use a phone call. And I look at it seventh, and I thought to myself, you know what, man, that's a connection I'll remember for the rest of my life. This is a guy that hates his own voice. This is a guy that doesn't want people hearing his voice, and just really does not like his own voice, but has no problem for the good of the boat and the good of and the possibility of helping people and doing what we do here. He says, you know what? I'll be that guy. I'll be the one to call up. And if he had done that once, I would be a very impressed person, but he probably did it 4 or 5 times. Whenever we were just in a spot and, we didn't have any callers, or we had a caller that was running a little long or whatever, and we kind of wanted to ease it along. Well, Steve would be there to take one for the team. And it meant massive amounts to me. Be proud of your heritage. It's not an accent with him. It's not an accent with him, guys. No, he thinks that there's a quality to it that sounds like a squeak or something along those lines. It's not an accent. He doesn't like the pitch and the timbre of his voice. How often can you work pitch and timbre into one sentence on YouTube? Can somebody give me a little props for that? He is proud of him. He was proud of him enough to step out of his comfort zone and call in and do that in public. And I love it. I really do. I love it. I'm proud as hell of him. He's a great example of this system working for real. And I mean the sobriety system, not the boat. But stepping out of your comfort zone, learning to be comfortable in your own skin, structuring. I know he didn't want to start the journaling, and the number of people on the lifeboat who said to me, I just can't journal, or I hate journaling, or I don't want to journal, or any of that. But 9 out of 10 of them come back and say, oh man, I am so glad that I'm so glad that it worked out the way that it did. I'm sorry. My accent is full Philly. Oh, my dog jumps on backs, shoulders, squeaks his ball in my ear. Sounds like a great dog. Ian DeBow says, easy, I can do that. Freddie Mercury had perfect pitch and timbre. You're right. You're absolutely right. And it's not hard, but I mean, to work it into part of your show. Hey, Keith Lego. Good to see you, Keith. Glad that you're here. Really, I am. Tim, glad that you're here. All right, peeps. So that brings us to the top of the hour and close to the end of tonight's festivities. As I announced on last night's show, there is going to be a permanent segment on the lifeboat. Should be starting up this week coming up called Wednesdays with Wages. Giggity. Giggity. Wednesdays with Wages. And it's going to be an opportunity for lifeboat founding partner Mark Wages to come back on here, and it'll be a chance for he and I to do. It won't be him hosting the show. It'll be like the old days where the two of us are. He'll be on the other side of the glass. That's usually what we used to say. He will be on the other side of the glass, and then you guys are going to have to let me know what you think about. She has kind of shoved her basket into camera view. So now you've got cat in the basket the entire show. You can thank me later. Alrighty, people. That does bring us to the top of the hour, and I'm nothing if not punctual. Do you know why? Structure. So look, there's a lot of other things that you can do during the day to structure yourself for success. But I'll tell you what, you can start off with baby steps. Simple as hell. Make your bed tomorrow morning. Don't get up. Don't do anything else until you make your bed in the morning. Declare right then, I'm different. Declare right then, this is different. I didn't do this last time, so I'm doing it this time. Well, that's just silly. Maybe it is, huh? Maybe it's silly. Maybe Tommy's an idiot. And maybe making your bed doesn't mean jack squat. But you don't have a clue, do you? Because you never did it. You never said, now that I'm sober, the first damn thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make this bed every single day. And I'm going to do it with a smile on my face, right? I'm going to say the old me didn't, the new me does. Start getting rid of the things that you used to do when you were a drug addict. Start implementing things you've never done before now that you are clean. You will structure yourself to a better life. And if you do not, you will find yourself in a train wreck. This goes into so many different aspects, and I won't keep everybody here forever. We do like to try to keep them to an hour. We'll do some long form stuff as we grow. Currently, we're getting really pushed by the algorithm, which is a beautiful thing for us, and we'd like to keep it that way for as long as possible. Tomorrow, I'm going to get a chance to see Heather Joy back in the saddle again. Heather is feeling a whole lot better, so thank you all for the prayers for Heather Joy. If you could hold 1 second for me, people, just give me patience for 1 second. I apologize, but there was something that I wanted to highlight. Sorry. Okay. Just making sure everybody was cool. All right, people, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. You're on the lifeboat, and this here, that is a cat in a basket. And a really cute one. That's a good kitty. All right. I will see all of you tomorrow on the deck of the lifeboat. Between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody. God bless. And I mean that. God bless.